From WENY News, this is an Eclipse special presentation brought to you by Kennedy Valve.
Good afternoon and welcome to WENY News Solar Eclipse special presentation brought to you by Kennedy Valve. For the next half hour, we'll bring you live up-to-the-minute coverage of the eclipse as it crosses our region today. We are approaching the moment of totality just about 22 minutes away. We have team coverage spread across the region from Watkins Glen to Big Flats to Hornell. And leading off our live coverage today are members of the WENY First Warning Weather Team. Chief Meteorologist Joe Veras and meteorologist Catherine Schwalm are at the Senegal Lake Event Center in Watkins Glen, where they are celebrating today's eclipse with an event centered around the past. Hey, Joe. Hey, Catherine.
Well, thank you so much, Renata. The event finally here across the Twin Tiers. Been waiting for this, it seems like forever now. And, well, unfortunately, weather conditions not quite ideal across the region this afternoon. So far up here in Watkins Glen, we've seen some breaks in the overcast. We've seen a little bit of the partial eclipse so far. But as of right now, we're looking at overcast conditions. But we are expecting that to change a bit as we head through the next hour or so. What we're anticipating is some of the thicker cloud cover that's overhead right now to begin to break up a little bit more. So we're thinking we see more of the tail end of this eclipse than the front end of it.
Yeah, so not the best and not the most ideal conditions we are seeing up in Watkins Glen and Eclipse Park, but at times we've actually been able to sneak a peek when the cloud cover does break up and we throw it on our glasses. We got to see it just for a bit. I even got a picture up here, and everyone up here seems to be just enjoying their time up here and celebrating it.
And quite the event as well. We want to bring in Heather
O'Grady Evans. She is the executive director of museums. How are you doing?
We're doing very well. We started planning this event back in November. We made sure that tickets were going to be released by February 1st. And the whole goal was to bring together the village of Watkins Glen, the Watkins Glen Chamber of Commerce, a local community theater group called the Lake Country Players, and the Schuyler County Historical Society to not only shed light on solar eclipses, what they've been in our past, but to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of mayhem. And so we had a murder mystery and a 1920s eclipse party.
So this is kind of a full circle event talking about an eclipse that happened almost 100 years ago.
Correct. We featured the January 24th, 1925 solar eclipse. And then today we also had time for plenty of fun under the slightly overcast, yet beautiful skies here lakeside at Watkins Glen Eclipse Park.
And what's the rest of the plans, I would say, for going into maximum eclipse and just after that here?
Sure. So we started off with buffet and plenty of libations to make sure that everybody was in a great mood. We had our little murder mystery, and we made sure that by 2:15, it's about nothing but the music and Mother Nature.
All right. Well, thank you so much for inviting us up to your event here. And it looks like you had a great turnout.
We had a fabulous turnout, and we're really happy. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, Heather. We appreciate it. So that's it from now from Watkins Glen. Again, right now, overcast conditions, but we are expecting some improvements. I guess you'll be checking back with us in a little bit, and we're hopeful to see a little bit more. But what we've seen so far, pretty impressive little sliver of the sun being blocked out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see rest of the Twin Tiers. Please keep sending your photos to us on air and online again, but we'll send it back to you, Renata, in the newsroom.
All right, Catherine and Joe, thank you so much. And we do want to remind you, even though it is cloudy out there, you do still need those solar glasses if you're going to be looking at the sky, trying to see the sun. And that was what was happening in Watkins Glen. But let's head up to Hornell, which is also in the path of the eclipse as it begins to move across our area. WENY's Lindsay Madison is live in Hornell at Shawmut Park, where there's a solar event happening there. Lindsay, what can people do there?
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, Renata. I'm right in the middle of the action at Shawmut Park here in Hornell. Now, it might be a little bit cloudy out. The sun is kind of trying to peek out, but that will not stop the fun. Let me step aside. There are a lot of things going on here. Lots of people. They're already setting up their lawn chairs and blankets throughout the park. They're getting ready. There's also lots of children here. They're playing on the playground, running around, dancing to the music. Now, as for the fun for everyone, there are plenty of vendors here and a few food options as well. Honestly, you would think it was summer with the food that is here. There's freshly squeezed lemonade, root beer floats, and deep fried Oreos. We've also got some hot food options for people who may need to warm up, you know. There's sausage, beef on weck, hamburgers and cheeseburgers. Honestly, I'm going to have to grab one after this. And also among the vendors is a Girl Scout troop, so you know, Renata, I'm going to have to head over there for 4 boxes of Samoas and maybe a thing of Thin Mints. And as for the craft vendors, you know, they're selling their homemade goods. There's glass art, there's cute homemade stuffed animals, and even some Eclipse-themed t-shirts. And now I have with me is Erickson Harris. He's the vice president of the Friends of the Hornell Public Library, and they've got their own tent going on across the park over here. So Erickson, what do you guys have going on today?
Well, we have a lot going on. So specifically, the library is closed for the day, where they set up a tent and they're doing STEM activities for kids. They have arts and crafts. We have obviously solar eclipse glasses while those last. We still have a few left. I know those are kind of in high demand. And then they have a NASA screening they're doing, lots of education about the library, what we offer. I'm with the Friends of the Library. So what we do is we are the fundraising arm of the library. We assist them with all of their programming, and they do so much. And we right now currently have several raffles. We have 50 basket raffles. We have 50-50 raffles. We have some donations from Wegmans in terms of a gift card that we're raffling off, and a few other things that have been really popular. So it's been great. We've had a great turnout here today, and we're really excited about the event.
Of course, and now this event, while the eclipse is going on, right, till about 3:30 or so, as it starts to move out of the path of totality, the fun also goes until about 5 o'clock, right?
Right, we'll be here until 5. We have a DJ going. There's dancing kids that are at the playground. So the DJ will all be here till about 5 o'clock, I would say.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Erickson. And Renata, I guess I'm going to have to go dance. But for now, reporting live from Hornell, Lindsay Madison, WENY News.
All right, Lindsay, thank you so much. And it looks like the cloudy skies and maybe even a little rain is not dampening spirits in Hornell. And Joe mentioned off the top of the show an event that happened here nearly 100 years ago. And that's the last time a total solar eclipse moved across our region. WENY's Connor Friedhoff looked back at the eclipse of 1925 at the Chemung Valley Historical Society's exhibit. Take a look.
For the Twin Tiers, the last instance of totality during an eclipse occurred nearly 100 years ago on January 24, 1925. This total eclipse will be the last one in our region until the year 2079, bringing a whole new meaning to the phrase, once in a lifetime. To celebrate, the Chemung Valley Historical Society created an exhibit that gives viewers a look back at Chemung County during its last total eclipse in the Roaring Twenties.
So 1925, Elmira was in the path of totality. So that was an entire solar eclipse. It was completely dark for 1 minute and 12 seconds. That's going to be different from the 2024 one. We are only 98.1% covered by the shadow of the moon, so we won't get total eclipse here, but it should be fairly similar. I have heard that a total solar eclipse is completely different, so it's not to be missed, but I think 98.1 is pretty close, so we should enjoy it here.
Located at the Chemung Valley History Museum in Elmira, the exhibit features photographs, news articles, and eyewitness accounts from the 1925 eclipse. Society reacts to eclipses much different today, but concerns were raised back then just as much.
So they actually asked the Elmira Light and Water Company to turn on all the street lights when the eclipse happened. They were worried there were going to be car accidents happening all over the place because people wouldn't know how to drive in the sudden dark. The police were actually concerned that there would be break-ins and robberies during the period of darkness.
Though no crime wave spurred out of control, businesses went on the offensive, creating special sales and viewing opportunities for their customers.
So we have advertisements that I found in local newspapers of Izzard's advertising special sales during the eclipse. They actually opened up the roof of their building here in downtown Elmira so customers could come watch the eclipse and then do some shopping.
The totality of the 2024 eclipse may not be right over the city, but it sheds light into a previous era of Elmira history. The exhibit on the 1925 solar eclipse will be on view through July 27th. From the Chemung Valley History Museum, I'm Connor Friedhoff for WENY News.
All right, and our live coverage of the total solar eclipse continues. Still ahead, we'll take you to the eclipse party at the Wings of Eagles Discovery Center in Big Flats. Plus, an artifact at the Corning Museum of Glass pays tribute to our region's role in helping view the stars nearly 100 years ago. We'll share the history of Corning Glassworks' 200-inch disc.
This WENY News Eclipse special presentation is brought to you by Kennedy Valve.
Welcome back to our Eclipse special presentation brought to you by Kennedy Valve. We're continuing to take you to live viewing events across the southern tier, including one right now at the Wings of Eagles Discovery Center in Big Flats. That's where we find WENY's Alexandra Duren. Hey, Alex.
Okay. Get closer, Micah. Okay. All right, we are here with Kalia and
Micah.
And I know that it's overcast right now, guys, but what are your feelings right now? What's it like?
I'm still pretty excited. I enjoy spending time with my family. We get to share this one-in-a-lifetime chance. It's pretty cloudy, but we're still excited. We're grateful to be here.
What about you, Micah? What's your favorite part about this?
My favorite part is the food, and coming here and planning with my friend, and get to see all the airplanes and spending time with my family.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and I'm glad you guys are having fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and we're also going to be talking to Tracy. Tracy, can you please tell everyone who you are and what is happening to here today?
I'm Tracy Yaffe. I'm president and CEO of Wings of Eagles Discovery Center, and we had a number of people come out and had an awesome turnout.
It's a great
even
turnout.
though it's overcast. We're here to do the stargazing, looking at the eclipse and everything, and we're getting close on the total eclipse, so we're here.
Exactly. And so earlier today, we have a bigger turnout out here in the front lawn, and so earlier we had kids come in and do STEM activities. Can you talk a bit about what the kids learned about this historical event?
Right, yeah, so they learned a lot of physics, how the moon transverses, how the sun does its little path, and how everything conjuncts together to get this eclipse for us. So they learned all of those pieces and are excited really out here to see what we're doing.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you. And it was a successful turnout, even though it is overcast right now. It's going to get darker. We're still going to be able to enjoy it. Thank you so much. I'm going to send it right back to you, Renata.
All right, and that has been the battle of the day, that cloud cover, right? So we want to bring you some more history surrounding astronomical technology, and that is to tell you about the 200-inch disc at the Corning Museum of Glass. And that disc is connected to the phenomenon of a solar eclipse in a very unique way. WENY's Max Coven explains.
At the Corning Museum of Glass sits the disc. It was destined to be this largest mirror the world has ever seen, based out of California. However, something went wrong and it cracked. So this is the first attempt of two, and now it sits right here in Corning, calling the Southern Tier home sweet home. Let's take a look at its history.
This is the 200-inch disc. It was intended to be a mirror for a reflecting telescope, but as you can see, it's not in an observatory right now, being a telescope, and that's because the mold broke as it was being cast, and you can see behind me some of the pieces of that honeycomb pattern are filled in with glass, and therefore was unusable as a telescope mirror blank for an observatory.
In 1934, the first attempt for casting the glass disc was underway. Even with the delicate nature putting together the disc, the mold broke, making the first attempt a successful failure for the Corning Museum of Glass in the coming years.
They tried again, and they got it right on the second attempt in 1935. And after a year of slow cooling in an annealing oven, it was transported from here, from Corning, all the way to Southern California at the top of Mount Palomar. After about a 6-week journey, it arrived in California, where it stayed for more than 10 years while it was ground into its final form.
The first failed 200-inch disc is now on permanent display at the Corning Museum of Glass. But its role in astronomical technology makes it relevant to the eclipse today.
And the telescope mirror behind me would have been used in an observatory to make different discoveries about the universe and stars and our galaxy and things like that.
There's no limit of creativity when you come to the Corning Museum of Glass or when you think about the 200-inch glass disc. Reporting to you from Corning Museum of Glass, Max Coven, WENY News.
All right, our live eclipse coverage continues after the break as we approach that moment of 98% totality in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's take a live look at NASA's feed of the eclipse. This is a view right now by NASA over Cleveland, Ohio. Stay with us. You're watching our WENY News Eclipse special presentation brought to you by Kennedy Valve.
This WENY News Eclipse special presentation is brought to you by Kennedy Valve.
Welcome back to WENY News Solar Eclipse special presentation brought to you by Kennedy Valve. We are just moments away from near totality here in the Twin Tiers. Let's check back in with Chief Meteorologist Joe Veras and Catherine Schwalm taking in the views at Clute Park as we are just about 3 minutes away from 98% totality. Hey guys.
Well, we are just minutes now away from maximum eclipse across our region. And I will say, Catherine, up here in Watkins Glen, and I'm sure where you're watching from as well, it is quite eerie, even though our skies are overcast and we haven't had a picture-perfect view, obviously, of the eclipse. It is very dark right now, eerily dark. Car lights are on, street lights have come on.
You were mentioning before we even came onto this live that it feels like it's 8 p.m. at night. It feels like we are getting ready for bed. It is time to kind of get inside and just enjoy the nighttime. And it's quieting down actually up here. You're not even hearing the birds chirping anymore. It's very quiet.
Right. It is just it's an eerie sight for sure. Like I mentioned, with the street lights coming on, it almost feels like, everything's about to, the sun has set and it's about to, become evening. But yet here we are, about 98% of the sun obscured right now. And again, what we're anticipating moving forward is better viewing at the second half of the eclipse as we track some clearer conditions trying to push in from the west. But as of right now, we are still overcast in Watkins Glen.
Yeah, even though it's overcast, you can feel it in different ways, from the darkness to even the temperature drop. Here, I was talking about this with Joe just a couple minutes ago. It was nice and mild when we first got here.
Right.
It has been cooling down significantly since we started this live shot. Even going into this, I'm getting goosebumps out my legs and my arms this afternoon. It's definitely on the cooler side going into the afternoon. And you can feel it now. You can really tell it's actually getting darker as we approach the maximum eclipse.
And quite the crowd here behind us. You see a lot of people viewing the maximum totality here. Again, 99% expected here in Watkins Glen.
And they are getting excited. You can tell that people here are excited for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see such a rare event. Yes, the conditions are not ideal, but everyone's still in a great mood up here.
That's right, and we still have until 4:34 that the total eclipse will be viewable. So again, we have the second half of the eclipse still yet to come.
Okay, we're going to send it right back to you, Renata.
All right, thank you so much, Joe and Catherine. And that is the story of the day, that cloud cover. But glad to see people are still just in great spirits taking in this experience. Well, let's go back to Hornell, to Shawmut Park, as events there are in full swing. People trying to get a peek of this one-in-a-lifetime event in the sky. WENY's Marcy Walsh is there in the middle of the action. Marcy, looking really dark where you are, as even though we have that cloud cover, the moon is obstructing the sun.
Hi, Renata. Here in Hornell, it is getting darker by the minute. And let me tell you, it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And everyone here, well, they're looking up. So now there's some cloud cover here in Hornell. So we're getting glimpses of the eclipse here and there. But let me tell you, the reaction when the sky went dark was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was a bunch of oohs and ahs, and everyone is really just looking up at the sky and seeing what they can see. So I'm going to take a step out of frame, and we're going to take a look at all the people who are set up over on the hill. People have been setting up for about an hour now, putting blankets out, setting up lawn chairs, just really to watch the eclipses of the community. And even now as I'm talking, the sky has gotten significantly lighter. For about 2 minutes, it was almost pitch black out here. So today in Hornell, it's really a community event. There are children of all ages. I've seen young people, I've seen elderly people, I've seen everyone here. The local businesses have come out in full force to share their products with the community. And I even talked to some people who, their sister came from Cuba to watch the eclipse today in Hornell. How cool is that? There have been a lot of families here, and it seems like a lot of the Hornell community has really come out to celebrate this once-in-a-lifetime event together. So there is a DJ coming out here today. They'll be here until 5 o'clock tonight. So there is a lot to still do here. You can shop at local businesses. They're even selling Hornell Eclipse t-shirts to really memorialize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of viewing the Eclipse together as a community. So you can come out until 5 o'clock if you're in the Hornell area to come shop with the vendors, listen to the DJ, get your glasses on, view the Eclipse. So it's a really great time out here. But for now, live in Hornell, I'm Marcy Walsh, WENY News.
All right, Marcy, thank you so much. And for a lot of us, this actually may be the last time we see a solar eclipse in our lifetime. The next one will move across New York isn't until 2079. Before we toss a break, let's take another live look at that NASA feed right there. We are looking right now at Tupper Lake, New York. Of course, the path of totality just passed over our region, and of course we are continuing to battle that cloud cover, but that's how it goes. Mother Nature has her own plans for us today. You're watching our WENY News Eclipse special presentation. We'll be right back. Well, for many Native American groups across New York, the solar eclipse has a special meaning. WENY's New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein spoke with a storyteller that visited Albany to tell us more about how Native Americans view this phenomenon.
The solar eclipse for the Haudenosaunee, the Native American people of New York, is a symbol of unity. Storyteller Perry Ground says about 1,000 years ago there were 5 tribes living across upstate New York and were constantly at war with each other. That's until a messenger known as the Peacemaker told the tribes there would be a sign of peace.
When the eclipse happened and was visible here in New York, we think in 1142 it was a sign for us to join together into our peaceful union.
Ground says Native American groups in New York and around the country continue to share tales of how they view the sun disappearing for a period of time. In the New York State Museum, he shared some of those tales, such as a frog swallowing the sun.
I think storytelling is very important because it's a very safe entree into learning about Native Americans and Native American history.
Ground says the solar eclipse is more than just a celestial event, it's a human experience, and for some, it will be their first time.
This is my first ever solar eclipse, and I've never seen a lunar eclipse. This is going to be so exciting for me.
Nico says she recently learned she is part Haudenosaunee, something she was excited to share. Ground says he hopes people take away from his storytelling how important the solar eclipse is for Native Americans.
I learned that not everyone thought that the solar eclipse happened the same way, and that everyone has different stories.
Reporting, Elise Klein, WENY News.
All right, and this is a live look outside our studio right now, but it looks like we may have lost that shot there. So let's just come out on to the set here. I'm joined by WENY meteorologist Deshawn Robinson. Deshawn, Mother Nature just not feeling it today, I guess. We have those cloud covers that is just persisting. But let's take a look if we can pull up the live NASA feed right now. This is a look in Maine, and of course the eclipse making its way across the northeastern part of the country. Our moment of totality was about 7 minutes ago at 3:22, but of course, Deshawn, not a great view for us here in the Twin Tiers.
Yeah, not the best. The funny thing is, yesterday was a perfect day. We had lots of sunshine. Tomorrow is looking like less clouds, and fortunately, we expect the cloud cover to lessen over the next hour as this warm front lifts northward. So there is some hope towards the end.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk about it. Thank you for joining us for our Eclipse special. That does it for us for WENY News. We'll see you a little bit later.
This WENY News Eclipse special presentation is brought to you by Kennedy Valve.